Daveigh Chase was one of the most promising up-and-coming child actresses of the early 2000s, with an array of iconic roles and characters that have still left a significant impact on popular culture since. But ultimately, it's led to one of the saddest stories for a Hollywood star I can think of in all of my years of research. I've covered various different voice performers on this channel before, but I can't think of any significant ones in recent memory whose fate has broken the hearts of millions like Daveigh's story has. So today, let's go over the story of Daveigh Chase and remember her for the legacy she had to offer. Daveigh first began acting at the age of 7 on stage and in various commercials before appearing in various TV shows such as Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Charmed, The Practice, and ER. But she finally had her breakout role in the world of cinema as Samantha Darko, the younger sister to the title character of the 2001 cult film Donnie Darko. The following year, she provided her first voice role in an animated film, that being the English dub of Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away, which in hindsight is the most sensational film you could possibly have to kick off your voice acting career with. Like, damn, what a movie. Subsequently, her biggest role to date would come in the form of Lilo Pelikai in the film Lilo and Stitch in 2002. The way she was able to bring that character of Lilo to life in such an authentic and memorizing way is nothing short of impressive, and it remains one of the most accurate depictions of a child character I've ever seen. It remains one of the best animated films to come out of Disney, and it spawned several straight-to-video sequels and a TV spin-off, all of which Chase reprised her role for. Not to mention that same year in 2002, she starred as the child antagonist Samara Morgan in The Ring, a ghost of a young girl who would terrorize her victims through images of a cursed videotape. It became one of the most iconic horror performances of the 2000s, and a staple in popular culture. She was even awarded Best Villain for her performance at the MTV Movie Awards, beating out more commercial actors for the category: Mike Myers, Willem Dafoe, and Daniel Day-Lewis. It was around this time during her rise to fame that she met her manager in the mid-2000s, John Ryan Jr., at a Los Angeles nightclub called Element. Daveigh was coming there a lot, and she became kind of like the little sister of the place. We all kind of looked out for her. She had some problems with her mother. She'd asked that we help manage her because she was unhappy with some things, and we wanted to make sure she was in good hands. And so we took care of her, and helped her get agents. She was one of my best friends. Me, her, my wife, and her ex were like, we're gonna travel the world together, so she was a close friend of mine. So we just kind of managed her, without even taking commission, just make sure little sister was safe, because I knew she had a fucked up childhood. A few years later, when the 2010s entered the picture, her career didn't see the heights that it did in the early 2000s, but she still starred in several independent films and provided her voice in video games. She really just wanted to get back to her Donnie Darko roots and do more indie, Sundancey stuff, her manager Ryan said. Her final starring role, American Romance, was released in 2016 as her acting career came to an end. And since then, many fans, friends, family members, and associates of hers were wondering what happened to her after she suddenly disappeared from the public eye. In November 2017, reports emerged that Daveigh was charged with riding as a passenger in a stolen BMW. Despite not driving, she was booked for the felony crime of driving a car without consent from the owner. Earlier that same year, in February, she was questioned by authorities at a hospital for dropping off a man shortly before his death. A year later, in 2018, she was charged with drug possession without a valid prescription and possession of drug paraphernalia after she was released on a $1,000 bond. All of these stories were worrying signs about Daveigh's current whereabouts and what she was up to after leaving her family and friends. Shortly after the news of her passing broke out, John Ryan Jr. spoke out about his efforts to reconnect with her after she had disappeared from the Hollywood spotlight. The last time both of them saw each other was November 2015, where she was working on film sets shortly before she vanished. He said, "Rob Reiner had called us and had a role for her, and she never showed up. He said, I've got a role I want to talk to her about. Have her come in." And then when we followed up the next day with him, like, hey, how did the meeting go? They were like, she never showed up. And then we were like, okay, something's up. Ryan claims that Chase lost her phone, so none of them had a way to get a hold of her. Despite not contacting him or her circle of friends for a few weeks then, there wasn't any cause for alarm immediately because she had a habit of disappearing for a couple of weeks at a time before re-emerging to hop on her next project. Ryan and Daveigh's close friends also claimed that while she was taken to rehab from drinking a few times back then, no one was concerned of her sobriety at the time she vanished, as she was reportedly sober a few weeks before leaving. She was very private and not Hollywood, so she would be like, hey, I'm gonna go sit in the desert, or I'm gonna go hide in my house in Vegas for a couple of months and just get away from Hollywood. Because she was such an introvert, it wouldn't be surprising if she didn't leave her house for 5 months, and she just watched movies with her cats. However, as time went on, Ryan started hearing some bad news about Chase's status, and in late 2025, he sought after her after watching a video of her in Los Angeles' Skid Row, where he was concerned about how bad he thought she looked. The video, before being taken down, apparently showed a skinny Daveigh lying on the floor of what seemed to be a tent or trailer while she was barely conscious. I ran down there, and by the time I went down there, she had already left. We've been looking for her ever since. We've had private eyes on it. A man named Kevin Call, who calls himself the mayor of Skid Row, claims to have known Daveigh during her final months in the area, and witnessed her become thinner and thinner over the course of time. Well, she was getting more thin every time I seen her. She was getting thinner, that she had a disease that was unarrested, and she needed help. And she couldn't get the help fast enough before the disease took her life. That is what the disease of addiction do to a lot of celebrities. A lot of people that end up in the situation here at Skid Row. After missing her in Skid Row and hearing alarming rumors about what condition she was in, it all culminated in Ryan's efforts to make a documentary on the search for Daveigh, which would have been called Finding Lilo, in hopes of raising awareness and learning of her whereabouts. We wanted the world to know, hey, this girl that you dress up as for Halloween has been missing for 10 years, and we need the internet's help finding her. Now we're gonna spin it and make it a documentary celebrating her life. But those plans came to a grinding halt when we received the news of her discovery in June 2026, as she was quickly rushed to the hospital to be treated of severe malnutrition following a period of extreme weight loss. After a tumultuous battle with meningitis and blood infections, Daveigh sadly passed away on June 16, 2026, at the age of 35. During this time, a man claiming to be Daveigh's boyfriend, Roy Hernandez, who none of her family or friends knew before then, had set up a GoFundMe page on her family and friends' behalf. After a difficult childhood and a painful falling out with her family, Daveigh was bullied and struggled to find safety and happiness in downtown LA. When we met, I promised to protect her and give her the love and comfort she deserved. Together, we found moments of happiness and hope. All she ever wanted was a place where we could live together, feel safe, and be happy. Now, more than ever, I want to give her that sense of home and peace in her final days. I understand we all go through things, but if you can help, I will be really grateful for anything. And if you can only give a prayer, I will take that too. Thank you for considering helping us during this difficult time. The GoFundMe had raised around $1,400 of its $5,500 goal, and Hernandez never disclosed where the money would even go. Daveigh's friends and relatives would go on to denounce the page, imploring others not to donate to it. That GoFundMe is not going toward any expenses for Daveigh. Myself, her father, her uncle, and all of us close friends who knew her for decades are encouraging people not to donate to this page. This man making these claims brought her into the hospital in terrible condition, and didn't let any of the family know until she passed so he can control the dialogue. Despite what happened to Daveigh Chase, it's important to remember her for what she contributed to the world. My thoughts go to Daveigh Chase and her family, and I hope wherever she is now, she knows how much she meant to everyone who knew her, especially those who were close to her.